Good evening. I'm Nisa Petrilli.
I'm Jay Kaplan.
I'm Steve Ferguson.
And I'm Sean Roman.
And this is On the Sports Lines for April 14th, 2016. The middle of April brings us the end of tax season and the start of the second season for the NHL and the NBA. Tonight we'll preview Rangers versus Penguins and Islanders versus Panthers in the NHL. We'll take a look at three teams lining up to knock off the Cavs in the East, the X factors for the favorites out west in the NBA, and debate Kobe's place among the all-time greats. As always, we want to hear from you. So email us at fanspeak@onthesportslines.com. Send your tweets to @onthesportslines and your posts to facebook.com/onthesportslines. Well, it's becoming another annual rite of spring, the Rangers facing the Penguins in the NHL playoffs. For the third consecutive playoffs, they'll go head-to-head, and for the second straight year in the first round. The Penguins held serve at home in Game 1, winning 5-2. We're going to take a lightning round look at the keys to the series. Steve, who is the Rangers player to watch in this series?
Well, I'm going to go with Matt Zuccarello because I remember last year when we played the Lightning, and a lot of times what we were told was the fact that he wasn't there definitely affected the way they play offensively. He's probably their fastest player. He may not be Sidney Crosby scoring, but the guy is very fast, sets up a lot of plays, and is a very aggressive player. And I think you need that against Pittsburgh because they certainly have the speed. So I think his presence will certainly help them.
Well, Sean, who's the Penguins player to watch in the series?
Well, the thing that the Penguins have with the Rangers lack, although they've been very successful over the last half-decade, is the singularly offensive star that the Penguins have had since 2008, 2009, Sidney Crosby. This guy came into the league, I guess, at like 19 years old.
Yeah.
First pick overall, made such an impact, won the Stanley Cup, and it's been 6 or 7 years now since Pittsburgh, with the best player in the league, has gone without a Stanley Cup, with teams like Chicago and Patrick Kane and the LA Kings jumping over them and really grabbing on hold to those Stanley Cups that you thought some of would have went to Pittsburgh. Watching him play, he is absolutely magnificent with the puck. It's like watching Lionel Messi with the soccer ball. There's something beautiful about the way Crosby holds and moves with the puck. Very few players have that singularly offensive star. The Islanders have a guy like that in Tavares, but very few players are able to have that type of finesse. Like you said, did you see that goal that he got against the Rangers from the hash marks? Just the way he's able to leap out, skate out, and then with that control, shoot it with his wrist is absolutely magnificent to watch. I expect him. This is the hottest team right now
Yes, they are.
in the NHL, and a lot of times that team with the momentum at the right time is able to go very, very far. This is like a dark horse team that's not really a dark horse. Sidney Crosby leading the Penguins, I think they're going to go far.
Well, Jay, finish the sentence. The Rangers will win if.
They'll win if their special teams are actually special. Two of the hallmarks of the Rangers teams of the last 5 years have been a top 5 defense and suspect special teams. This year, however, the Rangers fell from the NHL's third best to its 16th, their worst finish in 12 years on defense, and it doesn't help that they start this series without Captain Ryan McDonough, who's sidelined with a hand injury. This is going to put a lot of pressure on a core of forwards to create more offense than usual, and it means creating turnovers, drawing penalties to gain as many man advantage opportunities as possible. Then it becomes a matter of converting those opportunities into goals. The Blue Shoots were 2 of 21 on the power play in their last 7 games. Heading into the playoffs, they were 1 for 5 in Game 1 against the Penguins. This is, again, they're slightly below the NHL average for the season. It's the 5th time in the last 6 years they've been below the NHL average on the power play. They have no one in the top 20 in goals, and both Rick Nash with 2 goals in his last 17 games and Eric Staal with only 2 since he's come over to the Rangers in 20 games are in slumps. Doesn't bode well against a Penguins penalty kill. That's number 5 in the NHL. Here's the flip side. They can't be, is not drawing penalties to put their struggling defense down a man. Rangers penalty killing had been well above the league average for the last 5 years. prior to this one, but this season they're well below and they're under 80%. Luckily, the Penguins' power play unit is not that great, but the less chances they give Sidney Crosby to play a man up, the better their chances are to get out of the first round, based pretty much on what Sean said.
True.
Yep.
Well, the Islanders ended the regular season with a 5-2 loss to the Philadelphia Flyers. It left them 1 point behind the Rangers in the Metropolitan Division and facing the Atlantic Division winning Florida Panthers. We're going to take a lightning round look at keys to the series, as Game 1 is currently underway. Sean, who's the Islanders player to watch in this
Well,
series?
let me first say that, as an Islander fan, it's very sad.
Really? You're an Islander fan?
Really?
I have a home
That was
team.
news to us.
They haven't won a playoff series in 23 years. The last time they've had a playoff series was right after Pittsburgh had won 2 Stanley Cups, and the Islanders took them to Game 7 and beat them back in 1993, an amazing series. And since then, they've been a very poor team, and finally, in the last couple of years, 2 out of the last 3 years, they played very competitive series. So this time, they have to get over that hump. And what really separates them from a lot of teams and watching them over the season is how the crowd reacts and how the team reacts to their fourth line. And that's being led by, at center, Casey Cizikas. And then in the last, I think, 3 or 4 seasons, the guy who has led the NHL in hits each year is Matt Martin. He's sort of their enforcer. The other guy who led the NHL in hits before Martin is also on that same line in Cal Clutterbuck. When that line comes on, that is a powerful, magnetic line. They bring a lot of emotion. They really set up Tavares' line very well. And also, in penalty and in coming up big in like a tight spot, whether it's a penalty or late in the game or in overtime, Cal Clutterbuck has been able to find the right opening at the right time. That is going to be what separates them from Florida in this series. Yager at age 44, he's had a lot more success in the Islanders. He was actually playing in that game 23 years ago when the Islanders won their last series. So since that time, I think the Islanders deserve one over Yager finally.
Wow.
Well, Steve, who's the Panthers player to watch in the series?
Well, he actually answered.
set you up pretty good, didn't he?
He set me up very well. It's Jaromir Jagr.
Yeah.
I mean, this man is almost 44 years old. And what NHL player is able to play at 44 other
Gordie
than
Howe.
this guy? Yeah, that's probably the only other one I can think of. If you guys remember, he actually played for the Rangers. He's played for the Red Wings. He's played for the Devils. Penguins. This guy's had an incredible career. 27 goals this year, 39 assists, 66 points in 79 games. He is still a terrific passer, a very good shooter.
Excellent passer.
Oh, yeah. And in front of the net, you have a rough time moving this guy away from the front of the net. He is still a phenomenal player. And with the team they have and the hot goaltender they have in Roberto Luongo, they are very dangerous.
Physically, he's as strong as any player in the league.
Yes, he is. And he wants to play 2 more years, and who's to say he won't?
True. Jay, finish the sentence. The Islanders will win if...
Their ability to win faceoffs and control the puck actually translates into goals. The Islanders' style of play is all about speed and pace and getting into transition game, odd man rush opportunities. They win 50% of their faceoff, and they're a good puck possession team. If they can translate all of that into timely offense resulting in early first period goals, they can put Panthers goaltender Roberto Luongo on the defensive, and he's had his playoff issues when he's given up early goals. Now, your stars need to be stars during the playoff, which means a lot of that offensive load will fall on their captain and leading scorer, John Tavares. Now, it's been an up-and-down season for the captain. 33 goals are top 10. His goals per game are top 15. And his points per game are top 20. And he seems to be rounding into form at the right time, ending the season with 9 points in his last 5 games. Now, the Islanders are not sure what they're going to get from Thomas Greiss in goal, who hasn't played in a playoff game since 2010. So a lot will ride on how well the Islanders can put the puck into the net against a Panthers team that was 5th in the NHL, only allowing 1.98 goals per game.
Very even matchup.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting, but
Will
we are
be.
going to switch to the NBA now. And the Cleveland Cavaliers seem to be almost everyone's pick to come out of the Eastern Conference. But there are some who don't believe they should be printing up NBA Finals tickets just yet. We're going to look at 3 teams that could very well take out LeBron and company. Sean, which team do you see ruining the Cavs' road to the Finals?
I think it was the beginning of the season when we made our NBA picks. I predicted that the Toronto Raptors would come out and win the East. And they've been doing very well. This was their 3rd straight division title. And if you look at their stats, they've never had a better team as far as the regular season in Toronto, the city of Toronto. All their teams, their winning percentage was .683, with 56 wins and 26 losses. That beat the 1950-51 Stanley Cup winning Maple Leafs with a 679 winning percentage. So just because some other teams are racking up the wins, you have to look at these teams who have been, by other standards, exceptionally successful in their year. So, Toronto, if it's not going to be this year, I don't think they're going to do it any other year. And the Cavs have definitely proven themselves to be vulnerable. I mean, look at I got to see them play the Nets, one of the worst teams in the league, right here at the Atlantic Center, and they wound up losing. So I think they could definitely lose 4 over 7 games to the Raptors.
Wow.
Steve?
Well, I'm going to go with a team that every Knick fan hates to no end, and that's the Boston Celtics. Brad Stevens has done a terrific job with this team in a couple of years. He really has. First of all, he has one of the best guards in the league, and we're talking about Isaiah Thomas, and not the charlatan that ran the Knicks years ago. We're talking about a great point guard, speedy, 5'10", runs the floor extremely well, led them in scoring, averaging pretty much 20 points a game. And a guy named Jay Crowder, who on the Dallas Mavericks was basically a backup. He's now a star player on the Celtics, averaged 16 points a game, can defend anybody on the court. And you add that to Avery Bradley, who is an excellent defender, very good outside shooter. And this team also plays defense to the point where they create a lot of turnovers. And Cleveland is very vulnerable when they try to run up the court. And if they're not careful with the ball, Boston's going to take it away from them. And they know how to play in the clutch. So watch out, Cleveland.
What do you think?
Did you ever think we'd be uttering a sentence like this once LeBron went back to Cleveland? The Miami Heat could actually knock off the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I was waiting for someone to say this.
Neither did I, but our host's hometown team actually has the weapons to do so. To bring down the king and his shot to bring the title back to his hometown. Now, this is even with Chris Bosh unavailable due to his blood clot condition. Now, as it did before LeBron took his talents to South Beach, it starts with Wade averaging a team-leading 19-plus points a game and a defense that's only allowing 98.4 a game. That's 5th best in the NBA. Goran Dragic was a great pickup.
Oh, yes.
He's done a solid job running the point, averaging 14 and 6 assists. Hassan Whiteside has been a double-double machine, 14 points and 12 rebounds per game. The pickup of Joe Johnson late of the Nets has been huge. It's offset the loss of Bosh and his 19 points a game. The former Net has stepped into the starting lineup. He's averaging 13 points on 52% shooting, 43 from downtown. Throwing Luol Deng and his 12 points a game. The entire starting lineup averages double figures, they all shoot better than 45% from the field, and the NBA's 5th-rated offense at 109 points per 100 possessions since Johnson has come over. Now, they're a team that can score and defend with anyone in the NBA, and landing the 3 seed means they don't face the Cavs until the conference finals. But if they do, LeBron's quest could end in the city he left behind.
Could be very interesting.
And that smile will stay on her face.
Yes, it does.
We shall see. Well, no disrespect to the LA Clippers, but it's likely that the Golden State Warriors, the San Antonio Spurs, or the Oklahoma City Thunder will come out of the Western Conference. We know they're stars, so we're going to take a look at 3 other players who could have a major impact for each team. Jay, start us off. Who is the X factor for the Golden State Warriors?
Draymond Green. You know what? Yeah, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson may be the best backcourt in the NBA, but they're just the wheels. Green is the engine that drives this team. He's a do-everything, triple-double waiting to happen kind of guy. 14 points, 9.5 boards, 7.5 assists. Leads the Warriors in those last 2 categories. Only Russell Westbrook has more triple-doubles than Green's 13. Those are just the surface stats. You want to go next level? Here we go. When both Green and Curry are on the court together, the Warriors outscore their opponents by an average of 21 points per 100 possessions. When Curry plays without Green, that average drops to 3 points per 100 possessions. Green may only be 6'7". He has a 7'1" wingspan. He's been guarding guys all season from the likes of 7'1" DeAndre Jordan and 6'3" Chris Paul and everybody in between. He runs the half-court offense. He runs the break. Equal efficiency. First player in NBA history, 1,000 points, 500 boards, 500 assists, 100 steals, and 100 blocks. Leads the league in plus-minus, and he's the reason that the lineup of death, him, Curry, Thompson, Harrison Barnes, and Iguodala, is outscoring opponents by a ridiculous 47 points per 100 possessions. Is there any other definition of an X factor?
No.
That's pretty much it. Sean, what do you think about San Antonio?
I'm saying.
Well, San Antonio has their big 3. So I'm going to go outside of that to a guy who has pretty much sacrificed big numbers to support the big 3. I'll go with LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah.
Big deal. got him from the Portland Trail Blazers, where he was there.
He was the man.
He was the man there.
Second pick overall about 10 years ago from Texas. He was the star there, and he took basically. He's not getting 20 points a game anymore.
No.
He's not getting as many rebounds per game as he used to get. But he is there to support, in that San Antonio team system, the goal of winning a championship. San Antonio, do they care that they lost a home game to the Warriors and didn't go undefeated at home? No, they're able to get over that very quickly. The Warriors are absolutely thrilled. In the press, they were all over going for that big 73. This San Antonio team, what is their winning percentage is insane as well.
They won 67 games this year.
They are absolutely under the radar with the type of performance in any other year would be tops of the league.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So this, LaMarcus Aldridge has been performing his role playing quite well, and it's going to pay a lot of dividends come the time where they have to face the Warriors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, talk to me about the Thunder.
Well, you know what? Everybody talks about Durant and Westbrook, and they should. These guys are two of the best players in the game, period. But the guy that nobody really talks about enough is Serge Ibaka.
Yeah.
This is the one guy on this team that can do a little bit of everything. First of all, he's a terrific defender. He can guard almost any power forward or center. He blocks shots, rebounds, double figures in rebounds almost every game. He is a very good three-point shooter. When he first came to the league, he wasn't. Now you cannot leave this guy open at all. He will hurt you every time from the outside.
Good guy off the pick and roll.
Terrific player off the pick and roll, very intelligent player, and he's kind of the glue of the Oklahoma Thunder team. So I think with him, they have a pretty good shot at possibly doing some big things.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Well, after 20 years, 33,570 points, third of all time, one regular season MVP, 18 All-Star appearances, 4 NBA All-Star Game MVPs, 5 NBA titles, and 2 NBA Finals MVPs, Kobe Bryant is calling it a career. Who was I talking about? Kobe is a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, and he went out with a 60-point bang. But how does he compare to the other immortals of the game? Our guys give us their 2 cents. Jay, in your opinion, where does Kobe rank on the list of NBA all-time greats?
Well, I agree with you, he's first ballot, but he doesn't crack my top 5. Because my top 5, if these guys ever played together in their primes, I don't think they'd ever lose, because this would be one hell of a starting lineup. My top 5 is Wilt, Bill Russell, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Michael Jordan. Yeah, bring on the Warriors.
Jordan's your number 5?
Well, I'm just going in terms
was that in order?
No, it's just in order. Center, power forward,
Gotcha.
like
Exactly.
that. So the rest, I was thinking about it, because it's been a while since I've actually done a top 10. And I started thinking, well, I got to put Kareem there. I got to put Jerry West there, and I got to go with the Big O. That leaves 2 spots left. Now, I figured I'd go with somebody who completely redefined the game. Yeah, I'm a little biased because he's my hero, but I went with Julius Erving. And I'm like, okay, that's 1 slot. Checked out the 50th anniversary team, top 50 guys of all time, many Hall of Famers, great resumes. I reread the resume because I'm the one who put those numbers up that Nisa was reading, and I'm like, you know what? I had to give it to Kobe. He sneaks in and gets my 10th spot. It was this close, though, Sean. This close.
I was pretty amazed. Like last night, Utah was already out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because Houston
They knew at
won.
halftime that they were done.
They knew they were
So
done.
they're coming with a different mindset into that game, and they're going to be a little more deferential to at least letting Kobe get the ball and seeing what he could do with
There's
it. Just
difference.
out
I
of
mean, the guy
respect.
outscored them on his own in the fourth quarter, 23 to
Unbelievable.
21.
They were somewhat more spectators than they would have been if the playoff.
Well, that's
If
definitely
a
true.
playoff
I
spot
don't
was on the
know.
line.
They played some
That's what I
defense in the
think.
first half, and he lit them up.
Yes, he did.
That was an amazing, though, to go out with 60 points and a big smile on his face. I think that Kobe is absolutely incredible, and I am not sort of criticizing him. I mean, if you're in the top 20 of players ever to be in the NBA, you're freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Yes,
But,
you are.
My top 10 consists of this. I put Michael Jordan at the top. I got Kareem. The rest in no particular order. Shaquille O'Neal, Wilt Chamberlain. I'm with you on Dr. J. I got Magic and Larry Bird there as well. Bill Russell, Oscar Robinson. I wanted to get another point guard in there, Isaiah Thomas. That's why I threw him in there, because you
Maybe.
can't just not
I'd
have point
have
guards
gone
there.
with Tiny Archibald over Isaiah
That would have
Thomas.
been
And
a
I
good
even
one.
have Elgin Baylor in there, and I have
That-
Kobe.
Okay, yeah.
I have Kobe right beyond that, so I have him about 10 or 11.
All right.
Yeah, Bob Cousy almost made it.
Almost. You know what? For me, he goes in the top 5. He's probably
Really?
number 5 on my list.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. First of all, the only one who has more championships now than him is Jordan.
No, Bill Russell
Well,
has
Bill
11.
had 11, but we're talking
I said
about the
now.
modern. Right now, we're talking about
Okay.
this era. he has 5 championships. And he probably has the intensity that only maybe Michael Jordan had to win. And that counts for a lot. And
They called him Black Mamba for a reason.
you better believe it. This guy was an assassin on the court, as he did last night. 60 points against the Utah Jazz. This guy was their leading scorer, played for them for 20 years, their all-time three-point shooting player. Tremendous player. And defensively, I think only Jordan is better than him when he wanted to be.
People forget the fact that Kobe
Yeah, I like
actually
that
made
point.
a few
Oh,
all NBA first-team defenses.
Yes, he was a tremendous
I think that's the best
defensive
point
player.
that
And the
been
shooting,
brought out of this
okay, yeah, he took crazy shots, but he hit most of them. And very few guys can ever hit some of the shots that guy hit.
Let me ask you guys a question. What's more amazing to you? Him scoring 81 at age 27 or 60 points at age 37?
I thought 81 because it just
I'm going to go with what he
hadn't
did
been
last
done.
night.
It's like Will
I'm
Chamberlain
going to
got
go
the
with
100.
last night,
Yeah,
too.
I am too.
Nish, you got 2 cents?
I mean, as far as the top 10, I'd put him somewhere towards the bottom of the top 10, but I do think he makes the top 10. I would somewhere in the 7 to 9 range is where I would probably put him.
Can I throw out a question for hockey predictions and who everybody thinks is going to go in the final since we got a minute? Who's gonna lead up?
Caps out of the East, and
You probably pick Chicago.
yeah, I'm going to go with Chicago. Actually, no, it's an even-numbered year.
Yeah.
Los Angeles.
Okay.
Wow.
Who do you got?
I guess I'm going to go Caps because they're having a phenomenal year like nobody's business.
Their playoff experience has been so
I
far.
know, they
Can
never,
get over that hump?
maybe this time they finally can do it. And I
Out
guess
west?
I'll go with Chicago probably.
And how about for you guys, the Rangers and Penguins? Who do you think is going to come out of that?
I still think the Rangers have enough to get by, but it's going to hinge on which version of Henrik Lundqvist shows up.
I'm hoping. I mean,
Yeah.
in the championship round, I'd love
You
to
like
see
the Islanders to get
Rangers.
past the Panthers?
I do. Yeah. I mean, this is the year that they're not severe underdogs. It's very evenly matched up, and everything is falling in the right place for the Islanders to actually win this year. I mean, I think they had the more skilled. Tavares is better than anybody else on the ice right now. Like I mentioned before, they have that fourth line that brings a lot of emotion. Goalie is a little bit of an issue. That's where I give
Yes.
Florida a big edge.
Yeah.
You have to.
I loved Halak starting with Grice right there to back up. In those 2 roles, they were extremely effective. So I'm picking the Islanders. I hope to see Islanders Rangers 3rd round.
Yeah. Depends on which Ranger team shows up, the one that makes tons of mistakes, doesn't cover their goaltender well, or the one that scores goals and gets great goaltending from Henrik Lundqvist. And let's hope he's healthy for the next game.
Yeah, that's
Because they really need this guy. He's
We
the king for a
We got a
reason.
minute more?
Do we have a minute more? I don't think so. I think we got to go.
All right.
Well, that music isn't on, but it still means it's time for the 3-minute warning. Sean, lead us off.
I love a good soccer story and an underdog story. What is nearly unnoticed in these parts is the story in the English Premier League. Usually it's one of a handful of teams, and I really mean that, who could win. Think Manchester United, Manchester City, Arsenal. Then there are a bunch of teams fighting to wind up with a respectable record and avoid being relegated to a division below. The European soccer leagues have never adopted the concept of a playoffs and like to operate like the National League did before they agreed to play in the World Series in about 1903 or somewhere around there. But this year, a team has the chance to win for the first time in its 138 years of existence.
Wow.
That team is the Leicester City Foxes. To put this in perspective, the Foxes' best finish has been 2nd place just before the Depression in 1929. They were also relegated to that lower division I mentioned before for the better part of the last 10 years. And if you would have bet on them, I think you would have got 5,000 to 1 before the season. But in 2010, a businessman from Thailand got into the soccer business, and the team's fortunes have risen. Yet, beyond their striker, the team is mostly unheralded players playing exceptionally well together. So here's to hoping some history transpires with their 7-point lead with about 5 games to play.
Chip Kelly and Colin Kaepernick, a marriage made in heaven or hell. It was near the end of the 2010 college football season. ESPN gave us a dazzling game to end Friday night. Undefeated number 4 Boise State versus number 19 Nevada. Seemed like a mismatch until I saw Colin Kaepernick, Nevada's star quarterback. Blazing speed, elusive moves, and armed with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball to boot. 4 quarters later, Boise's unblemished 10-0 season was history. The supposed can't-miss pro replaced Alex Smith in San Francisco and then led the 49ers to the Super Bowl. Now this fallen star is horrendously inaccurate and dreadfully inconsistent. Enter Chip Kelly, the read option guru with the quick strike offense, requiring fast reads, accurate passes, and smart decisions, is now his coach. Is Kaepernick the guy to make it work? Time will tell, but I believe this will not be a heavenly marriage, but one enveloped in the flames of hell.
Ooh. When Gary Bettman took over as NHL commissioner in 1993, I was anxious to see what innovations he would bring to the coolest sport on ice. After all, he'd learned at the feet of the NBA's David Stern, one of the more innovative commissioners in all of sports. 23 years later, Bettman's innovations have been as much miss as hit. Getting rid of the old division names for ones that were more geographic sounding, I wasn't crazy about it, as those old names honored the history of the game, but I understood it. Attempting to reduce and eliminate ties, 4-on-4 and then 3-on-3 in overtime was innovative, and I'm warming to it. The shootout, still not wild about a series of penalty shots deciding a game. Use of replay, no problem at all with how the NHL uses it. What I do have a problem with is this current playoff system. This whole wild card thing and how the postseason matchups are determined is beyond convoluted. It defies logic that the Islanders, with the 5th most points in the East, are opening against the Panthers, while the Red Wings, who barely got into the playoffs, face off against the Lightning? Sorry, Gary, you screwed the pooch here. Go back to the NBA model of seeding the teams 1 to 8 based on points and reseeding after the first round. Yes, it would mean a likely first-round exit if the Red Wings played the Capitals, but how cool would it be for hockey fans to get Rangers versus Islanders in the first round? Sometimes the KISS theory is the best way to go. Keep it simple, stupid. Sir.
The Golden State Warriors have officially broken the 95-96 Chicago Bulls record. They finished the regular season with an unprecedented and very impressive 73 wins. But it was the Warriors' 72nd win against the Spurs that accomplished several interesting things. It ended Golden State's 33-game regular season losing streak at San Antonio, which dated back to February of 1997.
Wow.
It gave the Warriors a record 34th road win. It ended the Spurs' home winning streak at 48 and prevented them from becoming the first team to go undefeated at home in a season. The Warriors are also the first team to not lose consecutive games in a season or lose twice to any team in a season.
Wow.
So does all that make Golden State a better team than Jordan's Bulls?
Maybe.
I'm not entirely convinced. Steve Kerr is in the unique position of having played on that legendary Chicago team and now coaching the Warriors, but even he won't make an assessment on which team is best of all time. It's one of those subjective arguments that, unless you have a time machine so the two teams can play each other, we'll never really have an answer to. But I will say this, if the Warriors repeat as champs, those arguments for them will start to sound a lot more convincing.
Yep.
No matter how the playoffs shake out, there's no question this Golden State team has accomplished something special. There's no disputing that.
Nope.
For Jay Kaplan, Steve Ferguson, and Sean Roman, I'm Nisa Petrilli. Thanks for spending part of your evening with us. We'll see you on April 28th for the NFL Draft edition of On the Sports Lines. Remember, if you want to see this show again or catch up on any of the ones you might have missed, check us out at youtube.com/onthesportslines and check out our blog at onthesportslines.blogspot.com. Good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.
Everyone.